Yeah, good evening YouTube, or good morning YouTube, or good afternoon, depending on where you at. But this video, I don't plan on making it too long. For the people that know me, welcome to Zavendetta TV. Because I just wanted to get into something that should be more of a cautionary tale to those who make a living off controversial rhetoric, and I get it. Like, everybody's entitled to their own opinion when it comes to certain things, and you're pretty much able to say what you want if you're willing to accept the consequence of your actions or what comes out of your mouth. I say it all the time because there's some videos that I speak on that are extremely controversial, and if anybody felt disrespected to the point to where I would say that they were locked in and really willing to do something, it's not impossible. Anybody anybody in the world can be touched, depending on who you are, and really depending on what level or to what extreme a person wants to go to in order to do what they need to do. Nobody's untouchable, and that's been proven multiple times, especially in the United States. It's happened with the president. It's happened with a few different presidents. It's happened with people that people would assume was untouchable, and they still got touched. Prime example, Charlie Kirk. Now, Charlie Kirk had points. He had good talking points, but most of the stuff he said was pretty much directed at one demographic, and I always knew that, and I could tell just by the way he talked and how confident he felt in explaining certain things. Certain things that he did say got debunked, and debates that he usually would win didn't necessarily go in his favor. But this is a prime example of reaping what you sow. Like today, I had seen something about him getting popped in the neck. I don't want to go, but he got hit in the neck by somebody and that allegedly looked exactly like him. And it just goes to show you that regardless of race, regardless of one's background, with physical stature, standings in the community, no matter what it is, or who you are, it's no guarantee that the people that look exactly like you won't be the one to pretty much won't be, how should I say, regardless of what you might think. Like, because even where he did his whole I won't say debate, but how he gets out there and he talks to different people and he gets their viewpoints, and he essentially goes on to either debunk it or show them where the error of their ways are in the way that they think and what's coming out their mouth. They need to, anytime you interact with this dude, you got to have all your talking points on point. You can't slack, because he'll take advantage of it, and once he takes advantage, he'll exploit it and make you look idiotic and dumb, and whatever word you can use to be extremely disrespectful for those who are not as knowledgeable as others. But in the place that he did it, you would assume things like this wouldn't happen. But it's that false sense of security. It's, hey, I'm amongst people that look exactly like me. Yeah, I think it was like a college campus or something along those lines. Don't quote me. But you would assume that people would be slightly hostile towards what you're saying, unless they wholeheartedly agree with you. But you also know that, or wouldn't expect people that are of college education or participating in college studies wouldn't go to that extreme in front of all those people. But like I said, it's a prime example of exactly what could happen when you're talking about things that people don't necessarily like. Like, I noticed when it came to Israel and their involvement in the U.S. and Americans, not just racist Americans, but Americans, period, that were really pushing back against the machine as far as the Israelis controlling a lot of different aspects of our society, especially whether it's financial, whether we go to war, whether it's controlling the people that actually make these calls of us going to war and different things. You know, they're lobbying and constantly getting us involved in things that don't necessarily have nothing to do with the people, but it's just, it all fits into their little scheme as far as like when it comes to invading certain countries or doing away with people that they feel are less than them, that are you know, I'm not going to go into that, you know what I mean, because the whole Palestine and Israel, I'm not going to go in that because it's not what the video is about. The whole video is about the fact that people reap what they sow. Kirk may have never thought in a million years that somebody even though America has its violent parts, and you know, you have a lot of black neighborhoods that are violent, a lot of Hispanic neighborhoods is violent, a lot of neighborhoods that's violent, even some white neighborhoods are violent. You just can't see because it's not outright. They're not hanging on the street. They're not outright representing any type of affiliation. But you have some neighborhoods that everything takes place behind closed doors until it explodes and becomes a powder keg, and then some kid end up in school unaliving other kids that had nothing to do with his situation at home. And then you also got, you know, females that are constantly being abused by their husband, but putting out the facade for everybody else that nothing is going on. That's a perfect life. But we've seen multiple cases of things going wrong when people choose to hide it. Now, yeah, Charlie Kirk never thought in a million years anything that was happening. I know there's a lot of people that probably wish it upon him, but never thought in a million years anybody would be that brazen to walk up in front of all those people and attempt to unalive him. And who's know? I'm gonna say we don't know what it was. It could have been somebody just out of fear. It can be, if we got into conspiracies, it could be somebody else that felt that what he was saying, maybe his ongoing I won't say patriotism, but his ongoing support of Israel in a time where a lot of people are against Israel. We can go into other forms of, he just end up being the patsy to ignite something that's been long brewing. Because, you know, that's another thing. People get on here and they talk about race wars, and I don't really assume wars will be fought in the way that people assume they will be fought. For the most part, in order to really hurt somebody, you gotta, if you can't do it physically, or the physical aspect may be somewhat impossible, then you go financially. You hurt their pockets, and either side can do it. If the government chose to freeze all benefits and do all this other janky stuff that they've been known to do in the past, then it could easily hurt the black community. For the ones that rely on these type of resources coming in every month or bi-monthly, whatever. But also in return, the spending power of most black Americans, they could turn around and just never and not consume the same bull from the people that dislike them. And it's a real thing, because the spending power of the black Americans is pretty strong. Now, of course, the government did what they did to put certain safety measures in place to keep people from doing things of that nature, because even though, you know, blacks are not known to live off the land in the Americas, well, as far as like the United States, even though you do have farmers and other people that are capable of doing such things, but you know, when it comes to being like real survivalists, it's not really something people take part in, especially like in the inner cities. A lot of whites do that, but safeguards have been put in place to keep people from, you know, pushing away from you know, the food that's created for us, and leaning more towards, you know, on the farm and growing your own food, and, you know, your own animals and stuff like that in order to survive, or just living off the grid. They don't allow that because they don't want that type of energy. They want you to spend everything that you earned in double. And what's funny is because you don't make that much, but they want to make you spend everything. They want you to constantly depend on the government, and the people that don't really depend on the government, they want to make them subservient and pay extra wages in the guise of taxing the rich. They don't want that. They just want to take money, because the people that you assume that may look like Kirkland, a lot of other people don't actually run this country. It's been proven. We've been bending over for Israel for a long time, and I say that with all due respect. It's that the same money that we give them, they turn around and use it to lobby our politicians. A lot of our politicians are in their pocket, and if you do your research, you'll see that. And I know a lot of people look at it and they're like, "Oh, who's this guy? You know, had a colorful life, the not necessarily trustworthy. God knows why." And just a situation I've been in, you might not want to listen to me, but if you just really think about it. So if I went to conspiracy route, I could find different conspiracies to justify somebody walking up on Charlie Kirk, and hitting him point blank in his neck. Like I could find a conspiracy for that. And the thing is, you may never know. You may never know if it was conspiracy at all. If it's just some random act of violence, which I doubt. You know, maybe the dude that actually did that has mental health, but then he ends up being unalive in a spot to where you can't really question him to get the information out of him, because who knows why, and who may ever know why the dude that tried to unalive him allegedly did it in the first place. Did he just go off of impulse? Because it's kind of weird to just go off of impulse or just go off emotion in the moment, because why would you be bringing a gun to campus? Yeah, there's a lot of things. All I'm gonna say is this, and to hopefully, there's reports that he's passed away. I'm not too sure about that. They said the president got on NBC or whatever and made a statement as far as him being deceased. But I still won't believe it until I actually, hear it from multiple sources, not just one particular news outlet. But if he is passed away, man, that's sad, because it's family. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. At the end of the day, you're entitled to say what you want within reason, and some will face extreme consequences just due to the rhetoric that they continue to spew, being not only toxic but demoralizing towards a lot of different, I won't even say a lot of different groups, but certain demographics, and the ones that they I want to say chain talk, you know what I mean? Even though that's not really, but I would say chain talk. But it's like it's a certain different graphic, you know what I mean? We don't need to go into it. That his talking points were at its strongest, in being Christian, what he proclaimed, and talk in a manner that he usually talked in when dealing with certain groups. I kind of felt like, but you know what I mean? You got Christian white nationalists, you got all types of different groups that like to twist the Bible and only really adhere to it when it fits their narrative. But we're not gonna get into all that. Hopefully he ain't dead, and if he's not dead, hopefully he has somewhat of a change of heart and learn how to speak softer to people instead of being so blunt and disrespectful. Because there's sometimes I like he'll put people in their place when they have weak talking points. And I don't care what race you are. If you go into debate a person and they eat you up and you have no rebuttal, and you're the one that was pushing the narrative the hardest, or pushing a certain talking point the hardest, and you lose, you just lose. Same with Ben Shapiro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of his people like that, but his talking points, when he goes on one, he usually cook everybody he comes across. And maybe it's just the way he controls the situation and his demeanor. He's calm, and then gradually it kicks up, but not to the point to where he's arguing. He's just pointing out facts. So I like that, the way he debates. But hopefully dude didn't get unalive just because what the things that he used to like to say. You know what I mean? I would say this is reserved for people that are extremely violent, people that don't know how to reach across a table, that would rather be disrespectful to every ethnic group outside of their self, and the ones that are really pushing hate and really pushing for war amongst different groups in order to justify or further means that really don't mean nothing in the scheme of things, because they don't really own this country. Like, even white superiority and white privilege, that's so, you only, before all that, it was classism. And if you really break down classism and see how it was done in the past, you'll realize that even before slavery, it was classism, and every race has classism. Even blacks to this day have classism. They still do it even under prosecution, and even being hated by a lot of other people. They still tend to, go at their own, because one is less forced than the other. It's a deadly and self-hating, divisive way of doing things, or even thinking, or even acting on. But yeah, so Charlie Kirk, it hopefully he survived. If not, we all live by the sword, die by the sword. If you choose to go out and put yourself in social media being disrespectful to multiple people in order to further your career, then it's choices. And hopefully it's not, so he goes home to his family after he heals up, so he'll be more cautious on his talking points. Don't change his stance, but just soften up a little bit to, soft people can understand. But with that being said, I'm your boy Zod. This is Zod Vendetta TV, and hopefully you like and subscribe, and we can talk about this more in detail. But hopefully Charlie Kirk heals up, and I don't think nobody's rhetoric should be the reason that they get unalived. It's not that serious. If that's the case, then just fight. You know what I mean? You live longer. With that being said, you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out.